What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mac on Sports podcast. And I hate the Super League out in Europe. What they're trying to make in soccer is going to ruin the game. If you don't know what happened, right? Ultimately, there's going to be a 20-team competition played midweek trying to change, basically overtake UEFA Champions League and domestic league, domestic leagues. Here's why I don't like it, right? It sounds great, right? The best players in the world and the best teams playing each other. No, until you consider that most of what football and soccer comes from is the way it is organized in Europe, right? You have to earn your right to be in Champions League by finishing in the top few spots, by finishing in the top 4 of your league or top 5, right? You have to earn it. You have to earn it, right? And if you have a really bad season, you can get relegated. Well, that's what makes it fun. You have something to play for, right? But at some point, like stars like Messi and stuff like that will have to ask themselves, what's more important, money or playing in a World Cup? This Super League is just so greedy. It's all about money, and I hate every second of it, right? It takes away from what the true passion of sports and soccer is. You look at a team like Leicester City, right? You come in 500, you go in from League One, right? Get up to the championship, go to the championship, to the Premier League, have like 200 to 501 odds, some crazy odds like that, one of the biggest in sports history, and somehow end up winning the Premier League, which is a fan's dream if you cheer for a club like that, to see them go from rags to riches and all the way to the top. That's amazing for Leicester and what they've been able to do, right? But what this little stupid Super League team is you got to be like the big names. You got to be like Manchester United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona. First of all, Arsenal's in the conversation, and nothing against Arsenal. Let's put Tottenham in there too. They're not on the same level as these teams, but Arsenal's not in Champions League. Tottenham's not in Champions League. So they get rewarded to go to this because... what? Because they're a bigger name and stuff? I just hate it. I hate it. Right? By giving 15 clubs that are in this a permanent spot in this competition, basically, it destroys everything that soccer is built up. You're giving these because of the history behind the clubs or because of the biggest names, not because they deserve it. Now, where's the fun in that? Where's the competition in that, right? It gives the bigger clubs a seat at the top of the table, even if they happen to sign a bunch of bad players and a bad manager and bad planning, and they could be one of the worst teams. Let's, for instance, say, oh, Manchester United could go in and have an awful year, finish 17th in the league, 1 spot away from relegation in the Premier League, or could suddenly go down in relegation. But that doesn't matter, because just because they're in this and the founding fathers and founding whatever, the Super League, they still get to play in the top of the top. This is, and what I mean by this is, you still get to keep your best players, because you look at Champions League, like a team like Leicester, when you go from the championship all the way to the Premier League, right? You sign amazing players. You get more money for your club because you want to play in Champions League, because that's the best of the best, right? And so now, when all these young teams are like lower teams, you look at a team like Bournemouth, right? Bournemouth went from League 2 to League 1 to the Championship, and Eddie Howe got them into the Premier League, right? Well, you're never going to see anything like this again. All these small club teams are going to be dead. And here's why. Look at now, right? All this Super League thing is just money. It's just money. That's all it is. They're all greedy bastards. That's what the owners are. They're just greedy. Now look at a team in the League 1 or League 2. In England, they've been in a lockdown for a full year. Their rules are a lot different than the US, but they can't even leave their house for a long period of time. They're on stricter things. So what that means is the lower clubs are dying out. They don't have fans coming to their game. They can't be able to afford their club. They're having to furlough players, get them out of jobs. But you know what? Who's on a Zoom call? Zoom calls every day are these big rich owners. Just how can we make more money and be more greedy instead of, just keeping the way it is? And how have the fans reacted? I'll tell you, pissed off. They're pissed. The fans are so pissed off, they're disgusted. That's a good way to put it. They're disgusted. Like clubs lining up to take part. Ex-Man United player Gary Neville called them out. He described their actions as pure greed, what these owners are, and called for the top teams that want to break away from their leagues, break away from the Premier League, break away from La Liga, break away from all the big-time leagues, right, that they should all be relegated. Because this is not what football deserves. No serious football fan wants to watch this, right? Nobody wants to see that, this Super League. It just takes all the competitive spirit out of it. You look at the Super League. United, they can play in this little 12, 15 team, however many they're going to have. They can be, what, 12th place? You're not going to get relegated. You already have your spot for next year. So what? Now you're watching meaningless games. These games don't mean crap. Now, American sports, they don't do it the greatest ways, you know, like when a team kind of sucks, they're just going to tank, and nobody wants to see a team purposely lose, so I get that. But at what level this in the Super League, you're not playing for draft picks. What do you have to play for? Nothing. You can go out and put a bunch of 16, 15-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds, and now people have to waste their money. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a money grab thing, and I hate every second of it. So the fans are completely against it, but you might ask yourself, why is this happening? It's because of capitalism and globalism. Oh, the generational diehards who have followed these clubs across Europe for their entire life have to be pissed. But there are millions other across the world in markets like the United States, the Middle East, who spend their income on these clubs. Not the teams who play in their own country, but on these clubs. We've seen it in Australia, like teams like Liverpool and Man United come here for off-season tours, right? And they make a lot of money. They sell merchandise. They fill stadiums. Why? You know, the Australian league is struggling to even stay up as a league. It's the reality of what soccer has came to. And clearly, the 12 best clubs who have taken this step have the sums and believe there will be much more for it, and people are going to like it. But they're not. It's horrible. And let's be real. This has been happening. You can feel this coming from a long time, right? VAR is awful. It's kind of ruined soccer in a way. You score a goal, you can't celebrate. But all the soccer and UEFA guys are just money-grabbing, cheeky gits. I don't like them. I don't like them. It's ridiculous. The smaller clubs now never have a chance, which pisses me off. Like, at least you should always have a chance, no matter what. There's always going to be Cinderella stories, but there's not anymore. There's not anymore if this happens. And what's insane is they don't care about the fans, the owners. They don't give two craps about the fans. They're just all about money, money, money. Money, money, money. That's all they care about. It's just mind-boggling that nobody cares for this, and everything has come to money nowadays, and it's ruining sports. It is. Money's ruining sports. These little greedy bastards, owners that don't give a crap about their fans, that support their club, that bring money into their club, they don't care about them. And I get that sports is a business. It's going to be a money-making business, but this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I mean, if you look, it's these clubs against everybody now. Champions League from going where, you know, people dream of, like, you know, it's good competition. And for smaller clubs out of the smaller countries as well, they're done. It's these 12 to 15 clubs now against everybody, and I hate every second of it, and I think this is ridiculous. I think it's also ruining the game of soccer. Now, I'll put it in simple terms for you before we end on this topic. Basically, if you don't really get what I'm saying, it's more like a conference. This is like a college basketball type of terminology, okay? This is like a conference made up of only the biggest names out of college basketball, like Kentucky and Duke. But let's say this. This is like Kentucky thinking, why does Ole Miss get some of the money that we're producing? You know what? Screw Ole Miss. We're going to kick them out of the SEC. And we're just going to kick all the small teams out. Get out of here, Missouri. Get out of here, Texas A&M. We're going to bring in Duke, North Carolina to our big conference. And screw the low Power Fives. We're going to make March Madness. But we're only going to have Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas in it. You know what? Oral Roberts, you're not allowed in here. You know what? You know, all the Florida Gulf Coast, all these teams, you suck. You're not as good. You don't have as big of a name as us. You can't play because we're better than you. We're elite. I think it's ridiculous. Everybody should everybody should be able to have a fair shot. That's what makes sports so great. And I feel like this Super League is an absolute joke. Absolute joke. I know a lot of you might not understand what I'm trying to say. Even I had to watch a couple videos to try to figure out what was all going on. And it's just going to ruin soccer. Let's put it that way. It's going to ruin soccer. You have players in these leagues, right, that cannot play for their World Cup national team if they play in these leagues. There's a chance of not being able to play for your World Cup national team. So now, not only that, but we're going to have this Super League ruin national soccer, like for the World Cup. You rally around your country when that goes on. You're with your country together as one, right? For that, to watch your best players that you've produced. Now you're going to go be watching like it's the Olympics and having everybody's under 15 team out there. It's going to be abysmal. It's going to be, Ghana's going to go win a World Cup. Are you kidding me? Over France, England, stuff like that. Just get out of here. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and that's just what I wanted to touch on it. I think it's a joke. Screw the Super League. They're all rigged. They're all money-greeding bastards. I think it's awful. NBA now. Let's get on to a new topic. Let's talk about the NBA. I don't think anybody could convince me that if we're going to talk about what team has had the most valuable player this year for their team, I'm not saying he's going to win MVP, going to be the best player in the NBA, none of that. I'm just saying most valuable for his team. I don't see how it's not Julius Randle. What Julius Randle has done for the Knicks this year is absolutely unbelievable, and I think he's awesome. His last 4 games, he's had 34, 32, 44, and 33. He's the first Knicks player with 4 straight 30-point games since Carmelo in 2014. And when Carmelo was on the Knicks, they were a watchable team. Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Randle has made them quite a watchable team, if I say so myself, because they're in the playoff race. You know, they have a chance to get as high as a 4 seed. Knicks basketball are fun to watch because of Julius Randle. He is an underrated player that is unbelievable this year. And what he's doing with the Knicks is just great. He's making them a watchable basketball team, and New York fans should love every second of him. Julius Randle's my guy, and I feel like I've said it, there's other guys that are going to win MVP and very valuable to their team. Yes, but the Knicks aren't doing what they're doing if Julius Randle isn't on this team. The Knicks weren't supposed to make the playoffs, I don't think. And now you got Julius Randle busting his ass game in and game out, playing like a caliber top 10, 15 player in the NBA because he is. He made the All-Star game for a reason. So shout out to Julius Randle. And Knicks fans should be so unbelievably excited because the Knicks are genuinely, they're actually fun to watch. Somehow, Knicks basketball have done a 180. Shout out Julius Randle. Now, we got to talk about the Saturday night primetime game, Celtics-Warriors. What a game. What a game. Steph Curry versus Jason Tatum, basically. This felt like a playoff game. And the crazy thing is, the Warriors aren't even in the playoffs right now. But Steph Curry in his last 10 games is averaging 39. First of all, that's absurd. He's had 10 straight games over 30, by the way. Absurd. He's just unbelievable what he's doing. Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time. You can argue with me. Anybody can argue with me on that, and I'm backing Steph Curry. You can say, oh, Ray Allen is. Yeah, Ray Allen was amazing. Yeah, I'm not going to, argue against Ray Allen, but Ray Allen comes off, he's a catch-and-shoot guy, and he has knocked down as anybody. But Curry can get a shot anytime he wants. During the Celtics-Warriors game, he hit 2 shots that you just had to laugh at. You're like, you cannot defend that any better. You just can't. No chance. And it's just like you're admiring greatness. Is he a top 10 player of all time? Yes, I do think so as well. But he goes out, he drops, I believe it was 46. I think he had 46, 48, some absurd stat. And he still ends up losing because Jason Tatum drops 44. Wow. Jason Tatum's the future of the NBA. He's the real deal. You got to love that. And the Warriors, I hope they make the playoffs. I think it's ridiculous seeing this play-in system. Just like we're talking about with the Super League. Why are we trying to change all these sports here? You got the stupid playoff system in the NBA. The 7 seed's going to have to play the 10 seed. The 8 seed's going to have to play the 9 seed. All right, a 7 seed deserves a playoff spot. An 8 seed, you can maybe borderline that with a 9 seed, but you know what? They made the playoffs, so they should deserve it. But a 10 seed? Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. A 10 can play the 7, and the 7 can just drop a couple games to the 10 seed. And, oh, now we got a 10 seed in who shouldn't be in the playoffs. And they're going to get smoked by the 1 seed. I don't like the play-in system. I feel like it's stupid. And, once again, it's money. It's money, money, money. It's TV ratings. More money. It's just, money's ruining sports. I know I sound like an old grumpy man right now, but it is what it is. It's whatever. I just don't like it at all. And then let's give a shout out to my Phoenix Suns? Yes, I'm a diehard Celtic fan. Yes. But I've always had a soft spot for the Phoenix Suns. I've seen them in person. I went to a couple Suns games because my favorite player in the NBA is Devin Booker. He's my ride or die. I love D-Book. And I've been through the ups and downs with the Suns, going from absolutely atrociously bad to the #1 seed right now in the West. I don't think in a million years I would have guessed the Suns would have been the 1 seed in the Western Conference with the loaded LA Lakers, with the Jazz, and just great teams out of the West. But Phoenix deserves it. What Monty Williams has done as a coach there is unbelievable. The ownership has done a great job. The Phoenix Suns are not a fluke. The Phoenix Suns are a real deal that people need to take seriously because Phoenix can make some noise. This is a good fundamental basketball team. They don't turn the ball over that much. They take good shots. Adding Chris Paul to this team was so great. This is exactly what Devin Booker needed. It takes the pressure off D-Book's back because Chris Paul is a guy that's a playmaker and he's going to make things happen and he gets Devin Booker good looks. And I love this Suns team. I really do think they can do something special. I mean, let's talk about the bubble. What did they do? The bubble, they were awesome. They went 8-0. You couldn't ask for them to do anything better. And unfortunately, they still missed the play-in game, which you hate to see. But that's when you knew, okay, this team's going to be a real deal next season. I don't really think many people thought they were going to be in contention, maybe for the 1 seed, but they are. So I love it. Let's go, Suns. I can't wait to see what they do. Now, couple baseball thing. Dodgers versus Padres. This is the best rivalry in baseball right now. This is bad blood. It's kind of happened over the last couple of years, but this is for real. They don't like each other. Clayton Kershaw and a Padres player were exchanging words. Benches cleared. No punches were thrown, but a lot of F-bombs were dropped and a lot of pushing and shoving, but no punches. And there's going to be a real bench-clearing brawl at the end of the year between these two. I can almost guarantee it. I really do, because there is bad blood between these two teams. They do not like each other. Both teams have a great shot at going to the World Series. I feel like it's going to be an unbelievable 1-4 matchup because whoever doesn't win the division is going to probably play in the wild card and win the wild card game to play the Dodgers. Yeah, Dodgers are going to get the 1. So that's going to be a hell of a playoff series when we get to that point, but God, this is a good rivalry. Great talent on both sides, but a little bad blood. And I do think we're going to have, instead of pushing and shoving and, you know, everybody just having a nice little conversation, I do feel like a haymaker is going to be thrown at some point this year. But we break down some bad news, though, when it comes to baseball. And Ronald Acuna has an abdominal muscle strain. We don't know how long he is out for as of now, but you don't like to see this. Let's just look at his crazy stuff he was doing. He was on pace to have a 440 average over the course of the year. I believe 87 home runs, 189 RBIs, and he leads the MLB in every single statistical category. You can't do that stuff on MLB The Show rookie mode? Well, you can't. It's not easy to, guys. He's doing... Those are some insane numbers that he was being compared to. And, they're playing the Cubs Sunday Night Baseball. Braves smoke the Cubs. He's on first. He ends up diving back to first. He kind of hurt himself in the abdominal thing. Not good. We don't know how long he's out for, but this is the best player in baseball as of right now. And, yeah, you just hate to see it. You really do. You really do. But hopefully he'll be okay. And, God, yeah. Hey, MLB The Show is coming out, I believe, Tuesday. Tatis is on the cover. Great player. Questionable. No, not really, but I would rather Ronald Acuna or Mike Trout, but whatever. And to end the show, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren was an absolute clown fest. Clown fest. Nobody tuned into that fight to watch unbelievable amount of concerts. I didn't sign up to watch a Ice Cube concert, a Justin Bieber concert. And for the love of God, what has our world came to? We got Dixie D'Amelio and Charlie D'Amelio giving out the goddamn belt. That's just, come on. This isn't a real event. This is nothing against Charlie D'Amelio or Dixie, but oh my God. Everybody just going to shove them down our throats. The TikTok this, TikTok that. Wow, what have we came to? That's all I have to say on that. And Jake Paul versus Ben Askren was rigged. It was rigged. I will say that. A lot of people might think that, and a lot of people might not. But Ben Askren was getting his face plummeted against, I believe, Robbie Lawler of the UFC. Shots that were 20,000 times harder. 20,000 times harder than Jake Paul landing a right hook. Like, if you haven't seen the video, go look it up. Robbie Lawler versus Ben Askren, right? I mean, Ben Askren took a knee from George Masvidal right to the head. And yes, it KO'd him and all, but he took that shot. He can take a lot harder shot than a little right from Jake Paul. Get the hell out of here. And then Ben Askren gets up and he's like, I'm good, ref, I'm good. And the ref calls it off. It was an early stoppage. And even if Ben wasn't that great, you still let him go out for about 1 or 5 more seconds and see if he can handle himself. Then call off the fight. It was ridiculous. And Jake Paul literally thinks he's the best boxer in the world. Well, let me tell you, Jake, I would love to see Jake, instead of fighting Nate Robinson, a 5'7", 5'8", former retired NBA athlete, a YouTuber that can't fight for crap, and then go out versus Ben Askren when they're doing the introductions. Ben Askren, 2-time Big Ten champ, 2-time wrestling national champ. Boxing and wrestling, 2 different things. Ben Askren isn't a boxer. Go fight someone real. Stand in the ring with Anthony Wilder, Tyson Fury, or, Canelo. If you really do think you're the best boxer in the world, I would love. The whole world was cheering for Ben Askren to just see Jake get his face plummeted in. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But it was rigged. You can't convince me otherwise. I thought it was a joke of a fight. It was a waste of my time. And the event was just a shit show, to put it pretty simple. And yeah, so unfortunately, Ben Askren let all of America down, I guess you could say, because nobody wanted to see Jake Paul win. And Jake Paul wins in like a minute. It was awful. And it was it was just a lot of concerts, where you had to mute it because it was awful. But that was a joke of an event. And, next up we got the TikToker versus YouTube boxing event. Just another interesting thing. But I will say it gets more attention than real boxers. So they're doing something right. But, it was a money grab for Ben Askren. Ben Askren, thank you for letting America down. But that's going to about do it here on the Mac on Sports show. Super League is an absolute joke. Every owner is a joke. It's all about money, because they're all greedy. They don't care about fans. They just care about themselves. So that's a real shame. And if you don't really understand the Super League context still, after we talked about it, go look up Sky Sports, and, Gary Neville he's got a great interview. Like, he shows his true passion on what it really means to him as a former player and lets it fly. It's really worth your, to go see it. And hopefully this doesn't happen, because it could possibly very, very well ruin the sport. And that's something we don't want to see happen. But social medias will be in the description. I love you guys. Go follow them all. And I will see you guys next Thursday. And this was another great episode. I love the support. Oh, also, shout out, before I forget, shout out Ben and Coach Baldwin down at the JUCO National Championship. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And like Pat McAfee says, guys, share a friend, tell a friend. Or tell a friend, share a friend, something like that. Just share the podcast, right? And I appreciate Ben doing that to the JUCO coach, and I hope you guys go on and win a JUCO National Championship. We will get behind you here. So I appreciate you guys for all the support you guys give, and yeah, love you guys. Peace out.